Everyone thinks they know the story of the Speed Force. A bolt of lightning, a splash of chemicals, and suddenly Barry Allen is the Flash, creating a cosmic energy field that powers every single speedster in the DC universe. But what if that's not the whole story? What if that common understanding, the one that puts Barry at the very center of it all, is just one chapter in a much older, much weirder book? For decades, the source of the Flash's power was a complete mystery. And its true nature has been retconned, rewritten, and re-explained more times than Barry has shattered the time barrier. The story of the Speed Force isn't a straight line. It's a tangled mess of science, magic, and paradoxes. So today, we're going to pull on those threads and see what unravels. Is it a man-made scientific phenomenon? A mystical, ancient power? Or something else entirely? To really get what the Speed Force is, we have to go back to a time when it wasn't. In the golden age of comics, speed was simple. The first Flash, Jay Garrick, got his powers in a lab accident after taking a smoke break and inhaling hard water vapors. It was clean, simple, and didn't need some crazy multi-dimensional explanation. Other speedsters had similarly straightforward origins. Take Johnny Quickie used a complex mathematical formula, 3x29yz4a equals 2, grant himself superspeed. For years, that was enough. These heroes were just people whose bodies were uniquely built for incredible speeds. There was no unifying energy field, no cosmic treadmill, and no final resting place for runners. They just ran fast. But as the DC universe got bigger, and the roster of speedsters expanded from Jay and Johnny to include Barry Allen, Wally West, and more, the simple explanation started to feel a little thin. How could they all run faster than light without literally burning up from air friction? How could they possibly think and see the world at those speeds? The writers needed a bigger idea, something to tie it all together. And that idea would change Flash lore forever. You might be surprised to learn that the term Speed Force didn't even show up in a comic until 1994. During Mark Waid's legendary run on The Flash, it was introduced in The Flash issue number 91. Created to give all speedsters a single power source, and to hand-wave the pesky laws of physics they were always breaking. But while the name was new, the idea of a mystical energy tied to motion had a champion who was ancient. His name was Max Mercury, originally a Golden Age hero from the 1940s called Quicksilver. The character was reintroduced as Max Mercury, a man who had been running for centuries. Back in the 1830s, while serving as a U.S. cavalry scout, he was granted his speed by a Native American shaman through a mystic ritual to save a tribe from a massacre. This magical origin completely defined his relationship with speed. He didn't see it as a science experiment. He felt it as a spiritual presence. Max became known as the Zen Master of Speed, the first person to really explore what this power was. He described it not as a force to be controlled, but as a heavenly presence, an actual destination. He believed that when speedsters died, they didn't just disappear. They became one with this energy. Max had brushed up against the Speed Force himself, but his fear of fully entering it held him back, causing him to bounce through time from the 19th century all the way to the modern day. He became a mentor to Wally West, helping him understand that his powers weren't just about moving his feet, but about tapping into a fundamental cosmic energy. For the first time, the Flash's power wasn't just a physical ability, it had a soul. It was ancient, mystical, and now it finally had a name. Section 3, The Great Retcon, the Barry Allen Paradox. For 15 years, that was the story. The Speed Force was this eternal, ancient energy field that speedsters like Max, Jay, and Wally could tap into. And then, in 2009, everything we thought we knew got flipped on its head. In the massive series The Flash, Rebirth, writer Jeff Johns dropped a bombshell that sent shockwaves across the entire DC timeline. Barry Allen didn't just access the Speed Force, he created it. This change was huge. The lightning that struck Barry's lab wasn't a random connection to an existing power source. That accident generated the Speed Force itself. With every single step Barry ran, he was creating the very energy that fueled him. This immediately raised a universe-breaking question. If Barry created the Speed Force in the 20th century, how could it have possibly powered speedsters who came before him? Like Jay Garrick in the 1940s or Max Mercury way back in the 1830s? The answer is, because comics. The explanation is one of the greatest and most wonderfully absurd paradoxes in all of comic book lore. When Barry created the Speed Force, it didn't just move forward in time. It exploded across all of reality, backwards, forwards, sideways, stretching to the dawn of the universe and its very end. It existed in every single era at once, even before it was ever created. Think of it like this. Barry is the engine of a train, but the very moment he started moving, he instantly laid down an infinite track that stretched into both the past and the future. Jay Garrick and Max Mercury were just runners who stumbled onto that track long before the engine was ever built. It's a head-spinning causal loop, but it brilliantly made Barry Allen the absolute center of the speedster universe, the living generator of their power. For more than a decade, the Barry Allen paradox was the official origin story. But the Speed Force, by its very nature, never stands still. It's more than just a power-up for running fast. It's a fundamental part of DC's cosmology, tied to motion, time, and the fabric of the multiverse itself. And just when you think you have it all figured out, the story changes again. A strange new chapter is being written right now in the latest Flash comics. Writer Simon Spurrier has introduced a wild new idea that might just retcon the big retcon. Recent storylines have hinted that the Speed Force may not be a force generated by Barry after all, but an emanation from a vast, living, cosmic being that exists outside of reality, called the Deep Change. According to what's been revealed in books like The Flash number 11, this godlike being might be the true source, and it chose the members of the Flash family to be its conduits. It didn't create them, but it gifted them its power so that it could experience existence to feel love, connection, and life through them. In this new interpretation, Barry Allen is no longer the creator, but one of many chosen by a living universe of speed. The Speed Force didn't come from the Flash. The Speed Force seems to have created the Flash. This is a huge shift, moving the origin away from a man-made paradox and back toward something ancient and mystical, almost echoing Max Mercury's original beliefs. It suggests a give-and-take relationship. The speedsters get their power, and in return, the love they create in their lives literally nourishes the divine source of that power. This story is still unfolding, but it just goes to show that the Speed Force's only real constant is change. So what is the Speed Force? The truth is, it's all of these things. It started as a simple plot device, a handy way to explain impossible powers. It grew into a mystical field, a heavenly presence that the wise Max Mercury explored. Then it was rewritten into a magnificent time-bending paradox, born from the very hero it would one day inspire. And today, it's transforming once again, revealing itself as the possible breath of a living God at the edge of reality. The Speed Force's history is a perfect mirror of the messy, contradictory, and wonderful world of comic book storytelling. Its real legend isn't one single, definitive origin. It's a constantly evolving myth that grows with every writer who tells the tale and every speedster who dares to run. It reminds us that some mysteries aren't meant to be solved, but to be experienced, one lightning-fast panel at a time. What's your favorite version of the Speed Force? The spiritual energy field, the Barry Allen paradox, or this new living deep change? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into DC lore, make sure to like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.